next is the accurate analysis of voltage divider bias. In exam, to confuse you, they can ask this one as, if they want to twist the question, they can ask you, uh, discuss the simplified circuit of voltage divider circuit. Simplified circuit of voltage divider bias. So in any names, they can ask. So in accurate analysis, as I told, this is our voltage divider circuit where we are having R1, R2, and we are going to connect it to the transistor. First, we'll write the basic voltage divider circuit, then we'll move on to the accurate analysis circuit. This is plus VCC, and this is RC, this is RE, R1, R2. So now, here R1 and R2, which are in the parallel combination, these two are going to maintain a constant voltage across this particular node or the junction, which is known as the base voltage. So by properly adjusting R1, R2, we can have a fixed value across this one. Why we are going to use R1 and R2 is because due to some variation in R1 and R2 values, or if you are having a single base resistance, then if you are not going to have a specific value of that particular resistance, as you know, resistance are having standard values. We will not get resistance for all the values. We'll have some standard values like 10K, 15K, 20K, 30K, 50K, like that. You'll be not getting resistance for each and every values. So during that case, if you have this kind of voltage divider circuit, then we can tune them properly such that it is going to maintain the voltage constant at this particular point. That is the main idea here. So now, but these two are connected in parallel combination. So now we want to find out what is the exact effect of these two resistance over here. That means exact effect means how much resistance these two are offering at this particular point. So to do that, now for us, we on considering this circuit, this looks like a complex circuit for us. So for us at this moment, this is a complex circuit. We need to reduce to simple circuit. So we need to reduce to simple circuit. So to reduce to simple circuit, we will be using Thevenin's theorem, which you have already studied in your network theory. So from Thevenin's theorem, R1 and R2, since they are in parallel combination, we will write the parallel combination. So parallel combination is RB is equal to R1, R2 by R1 plus R2. Since in Thevenin's theorem, the parallel combination is represented as RT. Effective resistance is represented as RT. So we'll have R1, R2 by R1 plus R2. By doing this, we will be able to find out what is the effective resistance we want. So what is the exact resistance we want? Instead of having this bulky circuit, we can have a simpler equivalent an exact value of the resistance. So we are going to find out what is the amount of effect these two are going to give at this particular point. After this, once we are going to reduce this values, then our intention is to find out the voltage across this particular point. Already we know that in while doing the approximate analysis also, I told you that the voltage across this, that is base voltage, is mainly dependent upon one particular resistance among these two. Anyone remembers that? Which is that resistance on which?
Yes, sir. R2.
Yeah. R2 is the resistance on which this voltage is going to depend. So now VB is given as again by voltage divider rule. So by voltage divider rule, we have VB is equal to, so what is the main supply? VCC into where we are finding voltage across R2. So R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So this implies, since we are talking about Thevenin's theorem, so this VB will become VT. So VCC into R2 by R1 plus R2. So this is equation number 1 and this is equation number 2. So from these two equations, we came to know what is the effective voltage across this point and what is the effective resistance across this point. When you know effective voltage, effective resistance, this entire voltage divider circuit can be made simpler, still simpler values, simpler circuit. So we are going to convert this like this. So the outer circuit, the outermost circuit remains as it is. We'll have RC, we'll have plus VCC. This things remains as it is. This is IE we are having, but the output circuit remains the same. That is the collector circuit remains the same. Only the base circuit will change. Now we come to know the effective voltage and effective resistance. Now, can you tell me, will I be, should I write the circuit, input circuit, considering this loop, or I need to consider this loop? Let us take this as loop 1, this is loop 2. I'm just asking, say, listen to my question clearly. I'm just asking, should I write the circuit here or should I write the circuit here?
Loop 2, sir.
Loop 2. Why?
So because the VB is across the loop 2.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone feels that we need to write across loop 1? So his answer is correct. We need to write the circuit, input circuit across the loop 2, because we have come to know that the effective voltage is mainly dependent upon the resistance R2, or the voltage across the input side, that is at the base side, is mainly dependent upon the resistance which is connected between the base and the ground. So the circuit, now the modified circuit or the simpler circuit, will be across the loop 2, not across loop 1. Because if you connect it across loop 1, again, then it will be a blunder mistake, because you are having plus VCC again in contact with this. So that will be just like having two series voltage supplies. So now we will write, we have a resistor. This resistance is RT and we have a voltage source. This is VT. So this is how we will write. So now the current across RT will be IB. Okay. Say if you are going to connect it here, what will happen during that time? This plus VCC and this, they get added up, and again the base voltage, there is no point in finding out base voltage, because your entire voltage will be greater than or equal to VCC. So entire VCC will come here. Then there is no point in finding out the base voltage, or there is no point in designing an amplifier. So we are going to connect VT across this loop. Once we are done with this, see now at the input side, our intention is what? Always we take, yeah, anyone?
So we take two circuits and we find the IC, IB, and VC values.
Yeah, but our main intention in applying KVL at the input circuit is to find
IB and IC.
and IC.
IB.
Okay, now applying KVL to base circuit. So on applying the KVL to base circuit, we are having, so starting from here, minus to plus Vt. Coming to this, entering point is positive and leaving point is negative. This is plus, this is minus. So it will become minus IB RB plus, coming to this will be, since it is NPN transistor.
But it's RT, right?
Sorry? Yeah, it's
Isn't
RT.
RT?
Yeah, it's RT. Since we are taken RB as RT, we'll take here also as RT. Now, once we are taking out this, what will be the VBE, whether it will be minus VBE or plus VBE?
Minus VBE.
Minus.
Yes, minus VBE. So minus VBE, coming to this, plus minus. The current across this one is IE. So it will be again minus IE RE, that is equal to 0. Now, our intention is to find IB, but in this equation, we are having IE also. So now we need to, now I actually looking to this equation, both IB and IE both are unknowns. So we just need to know what is IB, but we are having two unknowns. So now convert this two unknown to single unknown value. So to convert that single unknown value, we are having equation IE is equal to IB plus IC, and we know that IC equation. What is the IC equation we are having?
Beta IB.
Beta IB. So beta IB, so IB into 1 plus beta. So now this take this as equation number 3 and this as equation number 4. So now substituting equation 4 in 1, 4 in 3. So substitute equation 4 in 3. So we get Vt minus IB RT minus VBE minus IB into 1 plus beta RE is equal to 0. Now rearrange this equation by taking IB common. So when I take IB common in these two, then the remaining terms will be, shift these two terms on this side, these two this side, and take IB common. So we get Vt minus VBE divided by RT plus 1 plus beta into RE. So this is the equation we are having. Now again we can rewrite this one by considering beta is very high. Beta is very high compared to 1. We can write it as IB is equal to Vt minus VBE divided by RT plus beta RE. So this is the equation for IB we are having. Now from this we know that IC is equal to beta times IB. So from that, since we know the equation for IB, take this as equation number 5. So on substituting equation number 5 in this, we get beta into Vt minus VBE divided by RT plus beta RE. So from this, we will be able to get the equation for the current, collector current. Now, once we are getting the collector current, then our next part is going to the case 2. In case 2, it is similar to what we are having in all the other circuits. So, because output circuit is not changing, so we will be taking the collector circuit. So, on taking the collector circuit, apply KVL to collector circuit. So on applying KVL to the collector circuit, we'll get, on starting applying like this, we get the current across this is IC and voltage between these two is VCE. So we get VCC minus ICRC minus VCE minus IERE is equal to 0. Now we want the equation for VCE. So VCE is equal to VCC minus ICRC minus IERE, that is equal to, yeah, this implies equation number 6. Okay, so this is about the accurate analysis. If they are asking you accurate analysis, you need to consider this one. And this is how we are going to do accurate analysis and find out the different values. So based upon the question, you need to, even the problems of voltage divider bias also, you need to look into the question, what they are asking, whether they are asking solve the problem using accurate method or approximate method. So that you need to look in. Along with this, we are having one small equation which is used. I was telling in the last class about there will be a condition we need to check before applying the approximate analysis or accurate analysis. So once we are done with that condition, or once the circuit is going to satisfy that condition, then only we can plan whether to apply approximate analysis or accurate analysis. Okay, so for that we are having one standard equation, or we can tell it's a condition for applying approximate analysis, or it is to check the validity of approximate analysis to a given circuit. So for this, we need to remember 1 plus beta into Re is very much greater than 10 times R2. So this is the condition we are having. Okay, 1 plus beta Re greater than or equal to 10 times R2. See, if this condition is going to satisfy, then only you can apply approximate analysis method. See, both this analysis are the methods to design an amplifier circuit. So you can apply approximate analysis method, where in approximate analysis method, we are going to consider IB is 0. You can consider IB is 0 if this condition is going to satisfy. Otherwise, you need to go for accurate analysis. The accurate analysis works, or it's holds good for all the types of voltage divider circuit. But approximate analysis holds good, or it's valid for a given circuit which satisfies this condition. Okay, remember this. So whenever the design and voltage divider bias circuit is being given, then first check this condition. If it is satisfying, then apply approximate analysis. Otherwise, go for accurate analysis. So we will be understanding in a better way when we start solving the problem. Coming to the advantages. So coming to the advantages. So unlike all the above circuit, here the operating point is almost independent of beta variation. Why? Because you can see that when we are considering the the approximate analysis, we don't have beta factor only there. We don't consider beta factor only, right? In approximate analysis, we what is the how we are going to find IC in approximate analysis? Anybody?
So we take
Hmm.
so to find IC we take IC is almost equal to IE.
Yeah, IC is almost equal to IE. We are going to apply KVL to the outermost loop, and we are going to find out VCE. Okay, and how we find out IE?
So IE we take the voltage at B and E, the difference between that.
Yeah, it is VE is equal
We
to
know
I.
VBE, we know VBE, sir. It is the 0.7 or 0.3 with respect to the material used, and we found VBE from the base circuit. So
Okay.
using those two, we can find IE. You find VE, and from that you divide the V value by RE, you get IE.
Yeah. So we are going to find VBE formula. We are having VB minus VE. So first we are going to find out this base voltage. So base voltage is obtained by applying voltage divider rule. So and this is VBE standard value 0.7 for silicon and 0.3 for germanium. So once you know these two, you can find out VE. So once you find out VE, so we have formula VE is equal to IE into RE, and you know RE is standard resistance whatever we are using. So IE is equal to VE by RE. This gives you IE value. So and we are also taken that IE is approximately equal to IC. So from this, see if you are going like this, anywhere do you have an influence of beta anywhere in this? Do we have any influence of beta? See, in accurate
No,
analysis,
sir.
yeah, in accurate analysis, we are using beta factor, we are using it. But in approximate analysis, nowhere we are using beta. Beta will not come anywhere in this. So directly IC we are approximating it as equal to IE. So from this we can tell that operating point is almost independent of beta variation. But even in accurate analysis, you can see that in the numerator as well as in the denominator, we are having beta factor, so which might reduce the fluctuation because in numerator and denominator, both the sides we are having beta. And the operating point is stabilized against shift in the temperature. See, even though the temperature is varying, by properly adjusting R1, R2, see, when temperature varies, automatically the current varies. That we know. But by properly adjusting the base resistance R1, R2, we can control base current. When you control base current, automatically collector current is going to be controlled. Then coming to the disadvantages, even though after doing all these things and we tell that voltage divider bias is widely used and most reliable circuits among any of other amplifier circuit, and at present also we are using voltage divider circuit only in many of our applications because it is more stable compared to others. But still, one of the main thing is we are going to have a bulky circuit, and again when it comes to transistor, as that's why I told you whenever while telling about beta value, it is almost independent. I didn't tell you it is independent, it is almost independent. That means this almost, what does it indicates? It indicates that still we have that effect. When we take approximate analysis, we ignore it. But when it comes to accurate analysis, some part of beta factor affects because beta is fixed for a given transistor. So one transistor is having some beta value. When you replace, see, circuit is same. Just you are going to replace one transistor with other transistor. How you do in a lab? So in a lab, in the lab, You are working with some, let us take example, Clipper experiment. You are working on Clipper experiment. We'll tell you, you have designed everything and you are connected the circuit. We'll tell you, okay, replace the diode. See, in your mind, what it will be? Okay, the diode drop, what it is 0.6. But when you replace that diode with another diode, you have to check the drop of the new diode, because the new diode may not have 0.6, it might have 0.7 or it might have 0.4 also, because it depends upon the doping concentration. Same here, even though we tell for a given, even though we tell SL100 family, all NPN transistor will have, if it is SL100 in that model, SL100 model, we will have 100 gain, but it differs. Let's see, just like vehicles, even though we take same vehicles, the mileage depends a slight variation from one vehicle to another vehicle, even though model is same. The same way here in transistor also, even though we might have same transistor, but if you replace one transistor by another transistor, then the beta value might change. So that is one of the major issue we are having. So, and also, since you are using RE, emitter resistance, it is going to act like a feedback circuit. So it is going to act as a negative feedback, and in turn, it is going to reduce the gain of the circuit, slightly reduce the gain of the circuit. But still, even though we said it is going to act as a negative feedback and reduce the gain of the circuit, it is not going to reduce to a maximum extent. To a little extent, it might reduce, but again, you might think, yes, then why can't you remove this interruptions? If you remove the interruptions, again we'll get one more problem. The other problem is, again we'll have 2-point instability. Because of RE, because of the bypass capacitance, whatever we are connecting across RE, and we will connect the bypass capacitance. Is there a disturbance?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Paper like sound is coming.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now?
It's better, sir.
It's
But
better,
it
sir.
keeps coming and going, sir.
It's
It's
coming,
back
sir.
again.
Something wrong with the microphone, I guess.
So how about now?
But yes, sir, now it's fine.
Okay, fine. So whenever you face such issues, no, immediately you tell me. So now, on that day we have discussed about the emitter resistance, and I told you that we will be using one capacitance. Can anyone tell me what is this capacitance name?
Coupling capacitance, sir.
Bypass capacitance.
Bypass capacitance. This is bypass capacitance. Okay, so this bypass capacitance is used for some particular reason. May I know what is that reason? Anyone?
To filter out the AC components.
Yes, very good. So whenever we are fixing up the Q point, during that time we need plus VCC, that is DC. At the same time, we are giving our AC input. So to filter out that AC, otherwise what happens, that AC might mix up with the Q point DC value. So, and that will be fluctuating. So when it comes to fixing up the Q point, we need to concentrate only with the DC. So that's why we need to filter out that AC, because amplification takes place at this level. But whenever we are going to fix up the Q point, we need to consider only DC. And here also we have taken IE is equal to IC. So for that purpose, we are using CE. You cannot alone use CE. You have to use RE also to fix a Q point. You might think, okay, remove this Re and connect a capacitor. If that is the case, what will happen? See, I'm telling you, C is a bypass capacitance which is used to bypass the AC component which is trying to disturb the Q point. Okay. So we know bypass capacitance is going to act as a short circuit for AC and open circuit for DC. That's why we are using this one to filter out. Suppose, yes, to filter out I'm using CE. If I remove this RE, what might happen?
Only AC will go to the ground.
Okay. So what happens to the Q point?
It will remain fixed because it's DC current. It won't vary.
It won't vary.
No.
Sorry?
The Q point will vary soon.
So the Q point will start varying because it will start receiving the AC input also. So it won't be stable.
Sir, since all the voltage goes to the ground, the Q point will drop to cutoff region.
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, you're near to the answer. See, for the Q point, we need some collector current. This collector current is coming from emitter current. And this emitter, what kind of emitter current we want? We want a DC. See, if you are going to remove this, and you are going to try to get emitter current, will you have emitter current? Because
No, sir.
across this entire AC will go here and this is going to block DC. So we will be not having a DC current which is flowing. But now when you have emitter resistance and this bypass capacitance, what happens? The DC component will be across RE and AC component will be across CE. So now what happens? Whatever the current which is across RE will be our DC current, and when this is fixed, this will be fixed, then this will be fixed. Okay, so that's why why I told all these things is, if you try to reduce or if you try to overcome one disadvantage, then again one more disadvantage will come. So that's why even though we have this problem of having emitter resistance acting like a negative feedback, but still we use it because to keep the operating point more stable. Okay, so and I just want to ask, did we cover the DC bias with voltage feedback or base to collector feedback bias?
So can you repeat?
The base to collector or collector base bias, did we do in the last class?
Yes, sir. Collector to base is done. Base is done.
Yeah, collector to base is done, no? And
sir.
emitter stabilize is also done.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, now let us solve some problems based on this. So the first one is, they're asking, find VC, VCE and IC for voltage feedback bias circuit shown in figure, which uses silicon PNP transistor. See, all the time you are used to NPN transistor. So when it comes to PNP transistor, you should be careful. So they are given this circuit. RE, RC. See, voltage feedback bias means it is collected to base bias only. 2 times. This is RB plus VCC, and beta is given as 100. This is given as 1.8 kilo ohm. This is given as 2.2 kilo ohm. This is given as 470 kilo ohm. And this is minus 18 volt. So now why plus VCC is minus 18 volt?
So because it's a PNP transistor.
Yeah, even this sign should change. So now analysis for this is same as whatever we have done for NPN transistor. Everything is same. Okay. So only the polarities are going to change. That's it. So here in our NPN transistor, we are showing the current direction downwards, but here we need to show the current direction upwards, because supply is negative, minus 18 volt. No, the direction of the current should be upwards. Even this should be upwards. Emitter current should be upwards. Now we know what is VCE. VCE is what? The voltage drop between collector and emitter, right? If you want to find VC, that is collector voltage, can you apply this formula? Can you apply this formula?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is there anybody who tells no?
So no, so you have to use IC plus IB, no, sir.
No, I'm asking you, IC, yeah, let it be IC plus IBN, okay, fine. But still, can you use this formula?
No, sir.
Why?
There's a voltage drop across RB that will also be counted.
See, for this, okay, how many of you will agree for VE, I will take IERE? Is this correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Why it is
Yes, sir.
correct? Because the potential difference across this one is, if this is VE, this is 0, VE minus 0 is VE only. So that's why this is correct. But this one is wrong. Please don't take like this. Because the potential difference across RC is not VC. What is the potential difference across RC?
RC plus RB.
No.
So it's VC minus
ICRC.
VC. This voltage is treated as VC. This voltage is VCC. Between these two, RC is connected. That's why the voltage
shouldn't it
drop
be
of
VC
RC
minus VCC?
Sorry?
Shouldn't it be VC minus VCC? Because VCC is negative.
You can take either the ways. You know, you'll get the same.
Okay, sir.
So potential difference between RC is VCC minus VC. So that's why we have taken minus here. Now, so that's why in many of the cases, 80% of them will use this one. Please don't use this one, because the voltage drop across RC is not VC. It is the difference between this voltage and this voltage. Okay. Now, okay. So the first step is we need to find out the base current. We need to find out the base current. So in order to find out the base current, we are having some, do we have any formula or what we need to do? We need to apply KVL to the innermost loop.
Base circuit, sir.
Base circuit we need to take. So when you apply KVL to this innermost loop, so what is the equation we are getting? So this is the same equation, same circuit what I have taken according to the derivation what we have done. Which is the next class?
CPC.
A constitution.
Okay, okay. So what will be the equation now?
So it will be VCC minus RC into IC plus IB minus IBRB minus VBE minus IERE.
So apply that equation to this and try to find out IB. We'll continue in the next class. Okay, we'll do this problem in the next